GM. Blue belts and purple belts, of course. GM, everyone, how are we? Good? Let's fucking go. Monday. That means one thing. Mentorship Monday. All right. So, I am absolutely fantastic. Getting myself mentally, physically, spiritually prepared for the 24-hour grind tomorrow. Who's joining me? Who's joining me for all 24 hours? Who's joining me for part of it? And which part? Yes, snooze is correct, Adam. Pop one in. Let's fucking go. Arthur, if you leave and have to come back with a different account, your blue belt, you'll lose your power levels and all the ranking, so try not do that. If you're a blue belt and you prove that you're a blue belt before, that's fine, I'll give you your blue belt, but you don't want to lose your profile. I popped a velo, actually, Brett, not a Zin. Prefer velo myself, but it is a snooze. GM. All right, so let's get going. Quick question, because one of the things I'm going to be doing tomorrow is a webinar on time management. How many of you are just, I only want to hear students, right? How many of you are students in high school or university? And if you are, only answer if you're a university student or a high school student. And are you finished for summer yet? Or do you still have exams? Just let me know. Just interested to know. Just say yes, high school, but also tell me if you're finished for summer. University finished, uni finished, last week or two of exams. University and work not finished. Uni student, internship, high school not studying exams, still acing, high school year 12 got exams. So most people, I guess it depends what part of the world you're in. Some of you probably don't finish until the end of June, is that right? Be good timing if so. For some time management webinars. I'll be posting a schedule for tomorrow. I'll do that tonight. I'm going to announce the 24-hour workday and the streams I'll do specifically. I'll obviously be online all day, but I'll stream at certain times. One of the streams is going to be a webinar where I talk to you guys directly and say, okay, give me your time availability, okay, pre-finishing for the year and post. So for example, let's imagine you finish on the 1st of June. You could say, up until the 1st of June, I was in university Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday from 9 until 3. Cool. Then you have 4 days times 6 hours. So you have 24 hours to fill. 24 free hours you've been given back for probably 3 months. And I'll show you exactly how to apportion that perfectly so that you can focus on trading, maximizing the most out of this campus, and cash flow. And I'll be running those for the next few weeks for people to get themselves perfectly set up for how to crush this summer. Even in America, high school completion date changes widely by state. Yeah, for sure. For sure. Diamond, 50 out of the 100 live tests on. Sick. Love it. Love it. So much fucking cool stuff lined up for tomorrow. I'm going to be building and releasing the harmonic divergence matrix with you. Some of you already have access to like the very first version of it. I'll be updating it with you guys and releasing it. Not just looking at volume, but looking at everything. You can add as many metrics as you want. Volume, OI, CVD, funding, RSI, and other indicators. So you can plug it in, give a score. So you could say Bitcoin 1 hour chart. And then rank the different divergences. Easyology. What if we're not in school anymore and in a matrix job? Absolutely. The idea of this, like the catalyst for the time management, is just that I know a lot of people are finishing their studies. So they're going to have free time they didn't have before, right? So a lot of people, because it's a big change. Like I remember it. I remember well. When I would finish school, I would finish uni for the year. You go from suddenly having all this stuff to do to having nothing to do. And if you don't have a plan, you're more likely to waste that time. What's the saying? The devil makes work of idle hands. So if you don't plan your free time well, you'd end up playing video games or fucking watching Netflix or even, trying to work on trading or trying to work in cash flow, but not with a clear plan, and really just being inefficient with your time. What did you study in uni? Business studies. Well, everything's recorded, Tom, yeah. Anytime I go live, it's always recorded. All right. Now, let's get into some of your questions. You know the drill. If you're a new blue belt, congratulations. This is the same as Wipeout Wednesday, except for blue belt. So I want you to drop a question, if you have one, into Bootcamp Ask Michael. You know the drill. And I'll go through them here. All right, Hungry Hugo. GM, I have $100 for trading and a couple of systems. Lately, I made a Bitcoin 1 and 3 minute scalping system. And after getting plus EV on backtesting, I started live trading. My 1 hour is $1, so I risk 1%. The problem is when I have a tight stop, I need to have a big position size to reach that $1 risk. But when I actually lose, the fees will make it extremely bad. Correct. Very common. For example, I had a trade where I risked 94 cents, ended up 170 loss, a bit of slippage and a bunch of fees. Correct. What's the optimal way of dealing with this? Because if I don't open a big position, my risk will still be $1 because of the fees, but my win will be way less than 3. If it was 3-hour winner, you get it. Correct. That's absolutely correct. And that's one of the biggest factors that makes scalping systems so much less profitable than their backtesting. So if you want to keep it like really simple, first of all, understand fees are unavoidable. So you should do everything you can to minimize fees, right? Minimize the fees. You do that through using limit orders where possible, because a limit order is usually 1/3 of the price cost of a market order. Going off Bybit, one of the most common exchanges, and Binance is very similar. A market order will cost you 0.055% every time you execute one. A limit order will cost you 0.02%, so roughly 1/3. That right away will greatly reduce your fees, but it won't reduce them to zero. It's not possible. You can't avoid slippage entirely either. Not possible. So, assuming you're doing that, you will You absolutely will have to use a smaller position size. That's true. And that does mean you won't get $3 back for your $1 of risk. You'll probably get $2.50 or $2.40 or whatever. And so you have to run that and see, does it still come out to positive in live trading? And if not, you simply move on. It's one of the, again, like a lot of times, I'm sure you guys, when you went through white belt or when you started trading, you think, oh, well, if I just find a system that works, then the system works. But in reality, you have to account for fees and slippage because that's your cost of doing business. It's the same as your operating expenses in an e-com store, right? If you sell something on your website for $49, you don't get $49. You've got taxes, you've got the raw costs, how much it costs you. It might cost you $19 to get the product. Then you have to pay a fee to Shopify. You have to pay for Facebook ads. You have to pay for support staff. You have to pay for you have to account for 1 or 2% of refunds, right? Stripe fees, all that kind of stuff. So trading is very much the same. You do have to manage your profit and loss, not just on trades, but the inputs to them. So that's why I always say, generally, you want to try and optimize as a low time frame trader, a day trader, a scalper. When you first start, and I was like this too, when you first start day trading, you think more trades equals more potential profit. But more trades equals more fees. More fees equals more of a sunk cost that you have to get above. Let's use an example here. So if you imagine, forgetting about the actual end, right? Let's talk about scalper A and scalper B. Scalper A takes 10 trades a day. Scalper B takes 3 trades per day. And let's imagine they're all, both the same. So that's scalper A has potentially 20. Well, no, they will have 20 executions. Scalper B will have 6 executions. So scalper B starts the day with lower costs. Okay? It's as simple as that. If you enter and exit 3 trades a day, that's 6 executions. Win or loss, doesn't matter. 1 to get in, 1 to get out. If you do 10 trades a day, it's 20 executions. And you have to pay fees on that. So before you ever win a trade, before ever winning or losing, you are in for 20 fees, 20 times trade fees versus 6 times trade fees. Let's just use a hypothetical. Hypothetical, every trade costs $1, okay? Just hypothetically, if every trade you entered cost you $1 to get in and get out, trader A has minus 20 to start the day. Trader B has minus 6 to start the day. So that should hopefully visualize it for you, that you start $20 in the red versus 6. So one way to reduce the fees is very simple. Trade less. And then you might say, well, what about my system? If my system gives me 20 executions, so 10 trades, shouldn't I just take them? In theory, yes. But if you find that taking those 20 makes it harder to overcome and it can't be profitable, then you should optimize your system for fewer entries. That could be through doing your backtesting and then isolating what are your best trades, right? If you imagine, and again, this is not an exact science, but if you have a 100 trade series, and let's say you've got 50 wins, 50 losses, just keeping it simple. You'll probably have 10 big wins, 20 mid wins, 20 small wins, and of course 50 losses. All right, the losses are going to happen, but let's look at the wins. That's an A, that's a B, and that's a C. The goal, if you can, is to try and identify common patterns in the C trades, if you imagine them as a grade, and you want to cut the C trades out and try and focus on the A and the B. Same goes for your losses too. You want to see, is there any way you could possibly reduce the tendency for losses, or find maybe an early exit signal where you can exit at break even with a limit order so you don't pay any